Imagine three guys from Texas. They've got chest-length beards, cheap sunglasses, and a 1933 Ford Coupe that looks like it's screaming even when it's parked. It's 1983. Rock and roll is changing. Disco is dead, but electronic music is taking over the airwaves. Most bands from the 70s are fading away, unable to keep up with the flashy lights of MTV, but not ZZ Top. Instead of moving out of the way, they traded their dusty boots for synthesizers and created an album that would sell over 10 million copies. This is the story of Eliminator, the record that turned a blues rock trio into global icons and sparked a mystery that fans are still debating today.
It's JC Rock and Metal Review!
Before 1983, ZZ Top was known as the Boogie Rock Band. Billy Gibbons, Dusty Hill, and Frank Beard played gritty, blues-infused music for bikers and rockers. They were successful, sure, but they weren't superstars. After a short break in the late 70s, Billy and Dusty returned with beards that had grown to their waists. They looked like wizards from the South, but while their look was old school, Billy Gibbons' mind was in the future. He was listening to radio and hearing bands like Depeche Mode and the Human League. He realized that if ZZ Top wanted to survive the 80s, they needed to stop fighting the machines and start using them. The biggest shock for longtime fans was the sound. Eliminator didn't just sound like a garage band, it sounded like a high-tech factory. Billy Gibbons became obsessed with sequencers and synthesizers. He wanted a beat that was perfectly steady, something you can dance to in a club. This led to the creation of hits like Gimme All Your Lovin' and Sharp Dressed Man. Behind the scenes, the band used the Fairlight CMI and various drum machines to lock in that iconic thump. This wasn't the loose swinging blues on 1970s records. This was precision engineering. Billy pushed for a sound where the guitar and the computer lived in perfect harmony. While it sounded simple and catchy, it was actually a very bold experiment for a blues band. However, this new sound didn't happen without drama. Making Eliminator was a long, difficult process. Bill Ham, the band's longtime manager, was a strict man who controlled every aspect of the band's image and career. There were rumors of massive tension in the studio. Billy Gibbons wanted to experiment, but the traditional ways of recording weren't working for the sound he heard in his head. Enter Lyndon Hudson, the band's pre-production engineer. Hudson was a tech wizard who lived in a house on the outskirts of the studio ground. He was often credited as the man who truly taught Billy how to use synthesizers and drum machines. However, his involvement caused a massive rift. Because Hudson wasn't an official member of the band, his contributions were often downplayed by management, leading to legal disputes over songwriting credits later on. This leads us to one of the biggest conspiracies in rock history. For decades, rumors have swirled that Dusty Hill on bass and Frank Beard, the drummer, barely played on the album at all. Critics and insiders have claimed that because Billy Gibbons wanted such a precise electronic sound, most of the bass and drums were programmed by Billy and Lyndon Hudson on machines. Some reports suggest that Dusty and Frank would show up to the studio, realize the machines were doing the work, and eventually just left Billy to finish it for himself. While the band has always officially maintained that they played together, the mechanical perfection of the album makes fans wonder. How could a human drummer play that perfectly for 45 minutes? Whether they played on every track or not, one thing is certain: Billy Gibbons was the architect of the Eliminator sound. If the music was the engine, MTV was the fuel. ZZ Top became one of the first bands to truly understand the power of the music video. They created a trilogy of videos: Gimme All Your Lovin', Sharp Dressed Man, and Legs. These videos didn't focus on the band playing instruments in a dark room. Instead, they told stories. They featured the Eliminator Coupe, which is Billy's custom 1933 Ford, and three beautiful women who acted as guardian angels, helping average Joes get revenge or find confidence. The band appeared in the videos as mysterious figures who would show up, spin their guitars at 360 degrees, and hand over the keys to the car. It was cool, it was funny, and it made them the most recognizable faces on television. You didn't even need to see their faces. The beards and the cheap sunglasses said it all. The result of this hard work and high-tech experimentation was a commercial explosion. Gimme All Your Lovin' became a worldwide top 10 hit. Legs reached number 8 on the Billboard Hot 100. Sharp Dressed Man became an anthem for every guy putting on a suit for a night out. The album itself stayed on the charts for over 135 weeks. It eventually earned a diamond certification in the United States, meaning it sold over 10 million copies. Globally, that number is even higher. It wasn't just a rock hit, it was a pop culture phenomenon. Why does Eliminator matter today? It proved that a band could evolve without losing its soul. ZZ Top didn't stop being Texas just because they used a drum machine. They showed other veteran bands that you could still embrace new technology and still sound cool. They bridged the gap between 1950s blues of Muddy Waters and the 1980s neon lights of the synth pop era. They refined the music video era and created a visual brand that is still used today. When you see a hot rod and a long beard, you think of ZZ Top, and that is the power of this album. Eliminator was the perfect storm. It was the right look, the right tech, and the right songs at exactly the right time. It turned three guys from Texas into the coolest men on the planet. And by the way, here's a CD. I completely forgot to take it out at the beginning of the video, but you can see the Coupe on the cover. This is an iconic album cover. And then on the back, let me put it up here, you can see all the songs. And it's a solid album. It has the three songs, the three big hits, but the rest of the songs are really good. You have TV Dinners, and you have Got Me Under Pressure. That's an awesome song. And pretty much the whole album is solid. So there's the CD, and my CD is, you can see here, it says produced by Bill Ham, and this is a very classic 80s CD. So that is the CD. I kind of forgot to take it out before. But anyway, let me get back to the story. So I think in the end, they create a masterpiece, even if they use machines or whatever they did in the studio. I think it doesn't matter because the album is really good. I think it's one of those albums that has both the hits that you know and the deep cuts, which are all very good. Shows off the guitar playing of Billy Gibbons. I know it's different than many of their earlier albums from the 70s, but they were able to take that sound and bring it into the 80s. And it's one of those albums I know almost everybody likes. I've seen or heard people talk about it, mostly heavy metal fans. They would even say that it's one of their favorite albums. So I think it's one of those albums that can be listened to by almost anyone, whether you like the blues rock or pop or whatever you like. I think this album kind of is accessible for everyone. It's kind of like the equivalent of Back in Black by AC/DC, loved by almost everyone. And those are my personal thoughts. But as big as Eliminator was, it wasn't the only time the band took a weird experimental turn. Before the synthesizers of Eliminator, there was an album that is lesser known, but it paved the way for this strange new direction, an album filled with weird sounds and even weirder vibe. And if you want to know how ZZ Top started their journey into the digital age, check out this video right here where I talk about the 1981 album called El Loco. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe for more rock history, and I will see you in the next one.